friends. Welcome to Story Behind Podcast. This is the show for people who love hearing a good story and who believe the world could use more positivity. We're the team behind GodUpdates and God2, and we hope these weekly short stories will brighten your day.
Delivery driver saves woman's life after double-checking when something didn't seem right. Written by Heather Rickelman, read by Julie Provost. The delivery driver saves a woman's life after double-checking when something didn't seem right. Have you ever had that gut feeling, the one that tugs at your heart, when an urgency you can't quite explain? It's in those moments when the quiet whisper of God stirs us to act, even when we can't fully comprehend why. For Leandro Pindro Dantas, a simple shift change and an undeniable sense of unease led him to become Jesus' hands and feet for a woman whose life was hanging in the balance. Leandro was doing his job, delivering groceries for Asda in the coastal town of Poole, southern England. Everything seemed ordinary as he pulled up to the next house. The lights were on, the TV was playing, it was a scene that seemed to signal everything was fine. But when he knocked on the door and got no answer, Leandro did what many would do next. He called the contact number for the delivery. No reply. I thought at first they must have gone out, he said, but something just wasn't sitting right. As he turned to leave, a sense of unease crept over him. I believe God made me go back to the window, he said. It wasn't just a feeling, there was a conviction, a knowing, urging him to check again. So he did. He pushed aside some branches to get a clearer view. And that's when he saw it, the woman lying face down on the floor, unconscious. In that split second, Leandro called for the ambulance, and emergency workers arrived to help the woman, who was diabetic and had suffered from a dangerously low blood sugar. They administered glucose to raise her levels, and soon she was stable enough to be taken to the hospital. But Leandro didn't just leave just yet. He did what he could to help the woman by putting her groceries away, doing something simple yet profoundly kind. A few days later, he went back to visit her, bringing flowers and checking in on her recovery. It was a gesture that spoke volumes about the love and the care he offered without a second thought. The woman, in her 60s, was grateful beyond words. Leandro is such a wonderful chap, she said. I can't thank him enough. He did a marvelous job, certainly going above and beyond what I would expect supermarket delivery drivers to do. She even took the time to write a letter to the local paper, sharing how this stranger had saved her life and touched her heart. What makes Leandro's story so powerful is the recognition that it wasn't just chance that brought him to that door that night. It was God's timing. He wasn't even scheduled to work that evening, but a last-minute shift change meant that he was in the right place at the right time. I think it was fate that I was called there that day, he humbly shared. In a chaotic world where small, quiet moments can pass unnoticed, Leandro's story reminds us of what happens when we listen to that still, small voice. When we follow our gut feelings and lean into God's leading, we can be Jesus' hands and feet to those around us. And sometimes we're called to be the answer to someone else's prayer, even when we don't realize it. Leandro, the unassuming delivery driver, was nominated for an Asda Service Superstar Award. While the world may recognize him as a hero, for those of us that know what it means to follow God's lead, we see him as exactly that. A hero who listened, acted, and showed the love of Jesus in the most profound way. Isaiah 58:11. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Let me tell you that God's gonna cut you.
It's Holy Week in Jerusalem, and the city is restless. The people of Israel welcome Jesus as king, his followers ready for revolution. But instead of taking the throne, Jesus turns the tables.
Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees! How will you escape being condemned to hell?
Experience Holy Week like never before.
What have you done?
Now in theaters, The Chosen, Last Supper. Get your tickets now.
Four-year-old sends out a message in a bottle, receives reply less than 2 weeks later. Written by Heather Rickelman, read by Julie Provost. A 4-year-old sends out a message in a bottle and receives a reply less than 2 weeks later. There are moments in life that remind us just how small our world is and how deeply connected we all are, despite the miles and years that separate us. A little boy named Ford Thomas, vacationing in Barbados with his family, experienced one of those moments when he sent out a message in a bottle. To his surprise, received a reply just days later. Ford's dad, Joe, helped him send off a bottle into the North Atlantic Ocean. Inside was Ford's letter, a drawing, a rock he had found on the beach, and a photo of himself. Joe, knowing the odds, figured there was only about a 3% chance that the message would be found. Still, he and Ford sent off into the vast ocean, letting go of the expectations but holding on to a bit of wonder. It's the kind of moment where the heart is stretched out into the wild blue, hoping for something magical to come back. Something that might feel impossible, but is also beautifully, wonderfully possible. Ford's family had long since let go of the thought of their bottle finding its way to someone when, just 9 days later, Joe received an email. The subject line, an unexpected gift. Hi there, Ford. The email came from Zaina, a woman living on the breathtaking island of St. Lucia, 4,000 miles away. Hi there, Ford. You look handsome and I love your stone, as well as your colored picture, Zaina wrote. And just like that, Ford's simple childlike hope had found its way to the shores of another heart. What makes this story so incredibly beautiful is the way it reminds us that wonder still exists, quiet, magical moments that seem impossible, yet are true. Zaina's reply answered Ford's questions and shared pieces of her own world. She loved reading, cooking, and coloring, and she had 4 dogs and 8 cats. Her favorite Disney movie, The Princess and the Frog. When Joe told Ford about the email, the little boy's eyes went wide with excitement. He put his hands over his mouth in disbelief and asked, "Do we need to send another bottle back?" In that sweet moment, Ford's wonderment wasn't just a child's fascination. It was a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected connections come when we least expect them. In this age of constant noise and technology, we often forget the quiet simplicity of something as old as a message in a bottle. But Ford's story is a reminder that the world is still full of small miracles, of connections that can span oceans, and of hearts that still want to reach out and be known. And now, as Ford is pen pals with a woman he's never met, someone who lives on an island Ford may one day visit, maybe, just maybe, they'll cross paths one day, face to face. But for now, their hearts are connected through an act of pure childlike hope, a hope that sends a bottle out into the ocean and was answered with the sweet gift of a reply. In this world that often feels too big and too fast, maybe what we need the most is a simple reminder that love, curiosity, and wonder are what binds us together. And sometimes all it takes is one little message in a bottle to remind us of that. Psalm 8, 3-4. When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you have set in place, what is mankind that you are mindful of them, human beings that you care for them?
Thank you so much for listening to Story Behind Podcast. We're really glad you joined us for this week's story. To see photos and videos that may have been referenced in this episode, check out the links in the show notes. And if you enjoyed what you heard today, subscribe to our podcast, and please tell a friend about us. We'd also love it if you'd rate us and leave us a review. It really does help more people find us. Story Behind is a Salem Web Network production.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.